Yeah, same link. It's metering over here. It's not metering on this one. Now it is.
There it is. I see it.
It's the MacBook. Should click on the.
Check syllabus.
Testing. 1, 2. Are we on? We're back.
Check. Silvis.
All right. You guys got us? Send us a comment.
No, we good. You good.
We're good? Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for bearing with us, and welcome back to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show here on YouTube, on Facebook, joined by co-host Tim McAneney.
A second time.
The coach, the second time. You look better than the first time. I'm glad we got it straightened out. Big weekend. We got to talk about state finals. We're going to cover all of our state finals here, specifically the Big Five in public. South Jersey gets 5 teams in the state finals, Mac. First time, obviously, that has happened.
Yeah, great weekend. I mean, we talked about it. It was great to see these teams. I got to see a couple really good football teams, good football games. I know we're going to talk about the teams that won, even some teams that lost. But it's just so great to watch at that high level when when you're seeing teams playing to go to that next step. It's iron sharpens iron type things, and the little things, the little events in these games make a big difference. And like we talked about, this is now an opportunity to play for that state championship that for years was not here, right? Jersey did not have forever, and now with this opportunity, it's a couple extra games. Teams got some opportunities to take home another piece of hardware, get the ring.
Get the ring, man.
Get the ring. Order a jacket. Still do that, right?
We got, absolutely. We got Chris in the chat, Mr. Osborne in the chat. We got the Hudsons in the house. So thank you all for tuning in. I want to give a shout out first and foremost, though, to our presenting sponsors, the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 4 years, they've done just that. They created the Battle at the Beach. If you look at the teams coming down the stretch here in the playoffs, some of the best ones were at Battle at the Beach. They've donated close to $100,000 to date with the proceeds that comes from that event to local foundations, the National Football Foundation, the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey, which as the president of the club, I can say we appreciate that, giving out scholarships. So thank you, West Jersey Football Coaches Association, for your sponsorship of the show. Also have to shout out our buddy Dave O'Sullivan, the founder and owner of South Jersey Glory Days. If you're watching this on Facebook, you're watching on his page. sjglorydays.com is where you can find all his content. Thank you so much. Mac, let's get right into it, man. The game of the week we had last week was Washington Township and Kingsway in the Group 5 state semifinals, a rematch of a barn burner the first time they played. It was 39-36 the first time. Washington Township wins this one 35-27. Now, Kingsway came in the game. Their star Cole DeNick, linebacker and running back, did not play due to an injury. Mason Bryan, who plays receiver and defensive back, did not play due to an injury. They were shorthanded, but I'll tell you what, valiant effort by David Orovets, the quarterback, in the absence of those young men. 224 passing yards and 3 touchdowns on 21 of 25 passing. He also ran for 47 and a score. The Dragons' season ends at 10-3. Their 3 losses were to Washington Township twice and to Camden, who are all playing in the state finals this weekend. Great season from Kingsway. But on the Washington Township side, a team that was favored, I got to say, I think that Jalen Robinson really was the guy who took over. He got the hat. He had 6 carries for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns, had a couple sacks. His 80-yard touchdown run in the fourth, Mac, put it away.
I mean, he had a couple big ones.
Yeah.
The first one he had going towards the water tower, was like, wow. Then I was joking with you, like, where's this cat been all? I mean, I know he's playing linebacker on one side, but, I mean, it's almost like an embarrassing of riches with watching Washington Township. I mean, first of all, it starts with Aquino, right? Smooth.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
smooth operator.
Everything he does.
3
right?
touchdown passes.
Yeah, no doubt. And can drop it like in a bucket. And he was fun to watch. The way he commands the huddle, the way he runs that team. He's not 6. You're right. He's not 6'2",
right.
But you wouldn't know it. Like the way he's out there, the way
Complete command.
You're right. Runs the show. Love watching him play. And then And Beeler carries, he gets a lot of those first half. Some punishment, right?
Yeah.
He's taking some body, but he's the body blow guy, right?
He's
Body
the jab
blow,
guy,
jab,
Yep,
body
yep.
blow, and then boom,
Yeah.
boom, Robinson. You got guys, Osborne's a stud both sides of the ball. He's not. I'm like, man, this kid, he's not playing enough offense for me.
Yeah.
I'm going old school Washington Township style, but they got, coach does a great job getting them in there. Obviously, getting them all in there on offense. Keeping his defense solid. Really, really appreciate it. But to your, gotta say Kingsway.
Yes.
Second, what you're saying, like, Orvitz played his butt off.
He really did. He was awesome.
And a great game plan by Henny and the boys. I mean, knowing they're down, Danick and Brian, just being able to say, "Hey, we're going to compete," and they did compete. It was a good football game. I never thought Township wasn't. I'll say
in charge.
Yeah,
I agree.
They look, Kingsway went down an open drive, and it was a long field goal, but they missed the field goal. 47, 8, 9.
I think it's a game, Mac. When you look back at the stats and how it came together, you may say, well, Kingsway misses just wide left from 49. They have one from, I think, 46 that hits the crossbar. They fumble in field goal range.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, that's 9 points. Well, to me, what showed the story of the game is when Washington Township gave up the touchdown that made it 14-14. They come in, they give the ball, they throw a slant to Paris Pratt for, I don't know, 12 yards or something. The next play, they hand it to Robinson. He goes 30-some, gets a face mask tacked on. The next one, he runs it in 12 yards for touchdown.
Well,
boom, 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 boom. We took a big blow. How do we respond? We score in 4 plays.
Well, that to me was the difference in the game, right? Because then Robinson right there, even though, there was still plenty of scoring left, at that point it made it 21-14, but we were like, wow, they can do that.
Yeah.
Now, and they kept doing that. Well, they only gave it to him 5 more times, but the field's
three more.
The field's only so long.
Yeah.
I mean, he busted that 80-yarder and put the whole game away. It's just they're a really and hats off, as you would say, to the Township folks, right?
Yeah.
Murph and staff and everybody. It's so cool, the hospitality there. First class, beyond means. Everything from when you walk by the press conference area that they have post game in their weight room. Walking the way those kids come out on the field, all the bands, the stuff, the cheerleaders. It was both sides had great representation. I'm old school like that. I love seeing
a lot of people there.
I mean, close to probably 5,000. I love seeing both bands, both sides, in both end zones. Kingsway line. I mean, it was wrapped around line at the fence. Minnick said it's the biggest crowd he'd seen in 20-some years there.
Yeah, in a long time.
And Kevin's been to a lot of Township games.
Yeah, and T. Bettle, I did not see that picture. Please send it to me. I'm looking at your comment from the chat. When you look at Washington Township, Mac, there's 2 points I want to touch on, stuff you said, but I want to go back through it. The first is Aquino. Excellent passer and a leader. Always cool, calm, collected. We talked to those kids after the game in the press conference setting, which is unique. I mean, usually kids, you get one-on-one, you don't have 3 of them there. And Jalen Robinson, he said, what's the difference, man? What happened with you guys in the second half? And he says, I missed a couple tackles early on. And he says, this guy right here, and he's pointing to Aquino, he says, at halftime, he came over to me. He said, tighten up.
No.
We need you. And
that's
and
great.
Cole Aquino's a soft-spoken kid, right? But that's the type of leader he is. He says, this guy right here, figuratively gets, come on. He plays great in the second half. He says, I owe it to this guy, our offensive captain, Robinson, the defensive captain. Then the other thing I want to mention too, Mac, is with Robinson, and we talked about it before on this show with Osborne. These are guys that at a lot of schools are carrying the ball 25 times a game and putting up massive numbers. Now, they both play every snap on defense at linebacker, but the fact that either one of them in a given game can come in and spell Beeler and go to the house, or run, in Osborne's case, run over 6 guys and just completely take your will.
100%.
That's really, really Group 5 football, right?
Well-
A great Group 5 team has dudes who you're like, imagine if this guy got the ball more. Imagine this guy. They
Right,
got
and
dudes.
then smart coaches are smart enough, and you know what? Cole Keno earned that respect probably when he was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Right, those kids have been playing that group of those seniors. These seniors now have been playing with each other, same team football for a long time. I mean, I said on the show before, I saw them won their 8th grade championship unlimited. I think they beat Eastern back 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So watching these guys evolve over and then seeing in so it's like culturally what Schatzman's done as a big override bubble, and then within it changing culture, and then that class comes along.
Yeah.
Like he's still gonna win, but then when you get the double bubble, when you get change of culture, and then the influx of the talent, and not only talent to your point, that doesn't really care who does what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like as I've said in this show before, as my dad would say, winning is sufficient glory for all.
Yeah.
You know, they're playing for the ring, they're playing for the team. Easier said than done. I mean, it's to be unselfish, you really have to be unselfish.
Yeah.
Like you can't. It's not some of the time. It's not when it fits. It's not like when as long as I get my 4 or 5 carries or 10. Sometimes you might get 0.
Yeah.
You know, so you can see it's a different type. I never see it on that sideline. I never saw a head down. Same with Kingsway though, but just never. You know, just it was just, you know, steady. I don't want to say. When I say business-like, I mean they got enthusiasm. They're excited to play football, but they're playing football business-like with excitement, with enthusiasm. Fun to watch.
Got to give a shout out to a kid who really very nearly had the hat. A guy, Darian Joyner. 2 touchdown catches. He also had a punt return for a score it was rightfully called back due to a block behind the play that didn't even need to happen. But Joyner had a great game. Now, the reason it's meaningful is that Joyner, a few weeks ago against RV, is a kid who, you know, was hit. We talked about on the show, was down. They had to put him in an ambulance, take him out. Now, he's even was wearing a different number because they had cut his jersey off. So great to see him. Not only we said, you know, he was going to recover just fine. Schatzman had filled us in. All that's great, but to have a big game like that with, you know, the scary situation I'd seen a few weeks earlier.
Right.
Great job by Darian Joyner. Darian Joyner's another guy where, you know, he changed his number due to that. But even when he catches a touchdown, you're like, gosh, they had 12. Now they got 19. Who's 19? Well, he's 12.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the Washington Township. That's how good they have been this year. And they have 1 game left. Obviously, everybody has 1 game left that's still alive. There's 14 teams left with 1 game left, and they are going to play Passaic County Tech in the Group 5 state championship. We're going to cover the games, but I'm going to give you the schedule first for those who may not have been in tune. We've got Friday at MetLife Stadium. That's Black Friday. At 10 o'clock, you have the non-pub B championship, which is Paramus Catholic and DePaul Catholic. They played earlier in the year. The score was 26-14. I forget who won that game, though. I just have it written down. At 1 o'clock, you have Washington Township, Passaic County Tech in the Group 5 state championship. At 4 o'clock, you have Cedar Creek and Old Tappan in the Group 3 state championship. And the nightcap at 7 p.m., you have Don Bosco Prep versus St. Joe Montvale. Bosco won that game 17-14 in overtime earlier this year. On Sunday at Rutgers, you have Glassboro is playing at noon against Cedar Grove in the Group 1 state championship. At 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you have Winslow Township against Ramapo in the Group 4 state championship. And then the following Wednesday at Rutgers, 5 o'clock, final game of the New Jersey Scholastic season, Camden High versus Shabazz, 5 o'clock, Group 2 state final. That is the schedule. We are going to preview The 5 big games that we have this weekend for South Jersey, 5 state finals, all 5 public school finals feature a team from South Jersey. For the first time, we'll have a team in the Group 2 state championship, and for the first time, we'll have a team in the Group 5 state championship. Sit tight and stay tuned. We'll be right back to preview those games with the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The West Jersey Football Coaches Association was established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated close to $100,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Capstone Medical Services, a dedicated team of experienced healthcare professionals with a strong presence at the youth, middle school, high school, collegiate, and post-collegiate levels. They specialize in athletic training services and sports medicine for youth, high school, collegiate, and adult sports, event EMT and paramedic coverage for events and gatherings of all types and sizes, ensuring everyone's safety, injury prevention and workplace injury programs for commercial and industrial organizations, American Red Cross training, ideal for coaches, youth group leaders, church organizations, businesses of all sizes, and school districts. At Capstone, they are committed to delivering exceptional medical services that exceed expectations. No team will work harder or more passionately for you or your athletes. They proudly serve athletes of all ages, schools, businesses, and event organizers, ensuring the health and safety of every individual in every setting. Whether on the field, at work, or during special events, Capstone's here to protect, support, and serve because your safety is our top priority. To learn how Capstone Medical Services can support your school, organization, or event, call 855-EVENT-CMS or visit capstonemedicalservices.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by SRA Home Products. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley alone. And I've had the opportunity to be around Mike Fody, the owner, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold accredited member of the Better Business Bureau under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up a number of Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They also contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com.
Enthusiastic about football? Become a part of the NJFOA South Football Association and team up with us to officiate high school football. Join us on the field. Our cadet class kicks off in March. Register on our website or by scanning the QR code in this ad. Put the stripes on and join us on the gridiron today.
Welcome back, New Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. We're going to go just as we have all playoffs. We're going to go group by group. We'll start with the smallest. We'll end with the largest here. We're going to start with Group 1. We got a rematch in the Group 1 state championship with Cedar Grove and Glassboro. This is going to be Sunday at Rutgers at noon. Cedar Grove is 10-3, Glassboro 13-0. Cedar Grove may have had the most thrilling win of the weekend, beating Butler 24-21 on a 49-yard field goal as time expired. The Panthers are on a 5-game win streak headed into the state finals, their second straight state final appearance, as we mentioned. The score of that game last year was 56-14, and Glassboro had it all the way. They outgained the Panthers 597-255. Stats from last week for Cedar Grove. Quarterback Pierce Esfog, if I said that wrong, I'm sorry. 22 of 32, 24 and a touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns. Jake Catanzarite. Man, these names are killing me. 5 receptions, 92 yards, and 1 touchdown. These guys, look, they had a great air attack last year as well. And Sebastian Kovacs may be that secret weapon with his 49-yard kick. Glassboro, we talked about them in Burlington City all year, okay? This was the 2 best Group 1 teams in South Jersey. We want to see them play, and this game Friday night was all Bulldogs all the time. They win 44-8. Amari Saab, 15 carries, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. JoJo DeLise, 13 carries, 122 yards, and a touchdown. And Xavier Saab, the number 1 athlete in all of recruiting as a junior across the country, 4 receptions, 51 yards, a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown and had a pick. The Bulldogs gave up a 97-yard touchdown pass in this game. And other than that, they gave up 1 first down. They held the Blue Devils to -6 rushing yards and 120 yards total, and 97 of it came on that touchdown pass. The score was 8-0 late in the second quarter in favor of Glassboro, and they won 44-8. Mac,
Trib.
Glassboro.
Big second half on the Dogs.
Big second half for Glassboro. Glassboro through the playoffs has had these, I don't want to say slow starts, but, it's been closer, and then it kind of ends up being not so close.
But it feels like if they didn't start slow, they'd score 100, as in 100, not half 100. Yeah. They got guys everywhere. City had a great season, right? Definitely, and they just, you got. As I've said this before, they don't look like a typical Group 1 school. And when they show up, their defense is off the charts. So if their offense takes a little bit to get humming, okay, it happens. And they got the rematch against Cedar Grove. Cedar Grove, great win. Field goal end of the game, 49-yarder.
Yeah.
Kudos to Sebastian.
Kenny Smith last year really was the difference. I mean, he ran for 405 yards on 20 carries. This year, Kenny Smith is not with them. They still have a great running back attack, though, with DeLise and Saab. I think you'll see Cedar Grove play a little bit differently. Last year, they came in with a great air attack. They kind of kept throwing the ball early on. It was 14-14, and, you're thinking maybe it goes back and forth, and then Glassboro ran away. So probably a different plan of attack for Cedar Grove. But it is a rematch. That's always exciting. This is Glassboro's 3rd consecutive year in the state finals. They lost to Mountain Lakes 3 years ago. And then, of course, they won last year big. So we'll see what happens. I think, Glassboro has been so dominant at that Group 1 level. And the defensive guy, I mean, you talk about a team that has guys, right? I mean, Brandon Simmons has 20-some sacks at D-tackle. Guy, right?
Yeah.
Tasheem Butler puts up a ton of stats for tackles at linebacker. You got Mekhi Parker. You got there's guys everywhere for this team. Devon Barr, great player. On the line, you got Jace Grays. You have Amon Wright from the offensive line. I mean, Timmy Breaker, how many games in a row have they won now? I think it's 27.
Yeah.
27-game win streak, looking to be back-to-back state champs and really put their names in the history books of a dominant program.
No doubt. And some of these, when I talk about a Group 1 football, Group 1, it's not like they don't have guys. I mean, you watch a Group 1 team, sometimes there's a guy, but then sometimes there's a guard that weighs 160 pounds, right? Like, because the school's only got 500 people in it, right? But, it's the old line, like how many guys you got or how many players you got, right? Yep. They got players, like they got dudes, and if only 15 came walking off the bus and they were the right 15 for them, they're fine. They show up, they play defense, and they're on a historical run right now.
And that's really where it starts. 3 years ago when they lost to Mountain Lakes, the team that had made that edition of Glassboro had their offense was not great all year. I mean, they made it with defense and special teams. And then in the state final, they didn't quite have the offense, and they lost to a very good Mountain Lakes team that was coming back after they had lost the year prior to Woodbury.
Right.
So, the offense came along last year. It was kind of all coalesced. You had the powerful defense and the offense, and then this year, I think you're going forward again. Jambuzzi says all they're missing is Lock Bomb and Redmond, right? Maybe Clement and Jawan Johnson and Gary Brackett, maybe some other Glassboro greats. And, they said last year, all the great teams in Glassboro, technically they could do something none had ever done, and that was win a state championship. And that was true. Now they have a chance to do what no other Glassboro team has done, and that's win 2 of them. So that's a big game. And again, that Group 1 state championship is noon on Sunday at Rutgers Glassboro against 10-3 Cedar Grove. In Group 2, this game is Wednesday night at 5 p.m. at Rutgers. Shabazz 11-1 versus Camden 10-2.
Next Wednesday, the 3rd.
Next Wednesday, not tomorrow. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in on Tuesday. Thanks for the holiday. Both these teams have Turkey Day games. Of course, you got Eastside and Camden. Where's that being played, Rod? Is it at Farnham this year, or is it at Farnham Park? And then the Soul Bowl of Shabazz and Weequahic, always a classic up there. Shabazz beat Westwood in their state semifinal 36-6 after a 10-point win over Madison in the sectional final. It's their second consecutive state final appearance. They have yet to lose a game since a 50-0 loss to St. Peter's in September. Kareem Costin threw a touchdown. Fahim Osman, 6 carries, 101 yards, 3 touchdowns against Westwood. And Nassim Brown, 3 receptions, 50 yards, and a touchdown. They spread it out on offense. They had 5 kids with more than 240 rush yards this year. Nassim Brown's a playmaker on the outside. He does a lot for Shabazz. They lost at this stage last year to Rumson, 26-24 in a very competitive game, very good game. Camden beat Haddonfield 37-18 in their state semifinal. Ahmad Jones, 16-24, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a score. Ibn Muhammad and Roman Duckett each ran for a score, and Talib Shakur picked 6. Camden finally gets that state semifinal win and breaks through to the final game. Rod, you were there. What stood out to you?
Had my mic on mute.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. It was just the poise of Jones. He pretty much controlled the whole game offensively for Camden. Early in the year, they were trying to find their rhythm with him coming, missing the earlier part of the season and coming back. Mm-hmm. But they are humming. Scott Freeman making plays.
Love Scott, yeah.
Muhammad making plays.
I think with Bobby sometimes, or some of those early losses gives him opportunity. He makes the most of hey guys, you see now? Almost, not I told you so, but we got to do some things. If we want to get to where we want to all get to, we're going to have to all agree that, hey, we got to tweak it and fix it and we got to get better.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's what you're seeing happening now.
Well, we always talk about the mark of a good team is being able to win games when you're not supposed to win those games.
Yep.
And you just, start finding your groove. They found their groove offensively. Defensively, they've pretty much been there. So this is going to be a really good matchup with them in the state championship. But Jones is a hard guy. He is playing phenomenal.
Right.
And seriously.
Yeah. And then you got Shabazz being there last year and not getting it done, losing in the state final. This is Camden High's first state final in football. Yeah. And I think it's Bobby's first, right? Bobby, we didn't have because we didn't have him back then when he was at Creek. So, this is a cool thing for the High. This is a cool, South Jersey again, Group 2. And like I said, what a matchup. That's a good, but they took care of business against Haddonfield. Haddonfield's a good football team all year. They controlled the game.
The defense,
right? It was.
the defense laid the hammer down.
It was,
It was. Sometimes I'm a Camden alum, so I try to take the glasses off. Mm-hmm. They were just dominant, both sides of the ball. They made it very hard. I said it yesterday. It was one play or one style of play that gave Camden a little bit of problem. Once Haddonfield's starting quarterback went out, they brought in another quarterback, and they were running like quarterback power, QB trap. I'm gonna say Camden didn't prepare for that.
Yeah.
More so than it been a personnel thing or a schematic thing.
But I mean, that
But-
play itself. I mean, I drive you nuts. I know, but when you start running the quarterback,
Right.
you got to defend an extra.
Yeah.
Now there's an extra gap, as they say. There's an extra
Exactly.
player.
Mhm.
And if you can run some of that efficiently, it can give teams problems. I mean, obviously, it didn't give them.
But once
Didn't give them that many problems.
once they tweaked it,
Yeah, I
and
mean-
they figured out what to do, it was done.
Yeah, you got to get, you got to probably get another guy down, and Bobby knows.
Yep.
One thing that's interesting though that I think we really got to give a lot of respect to Coach Hinson, of course, and we always do, but
Mhm.
there have been so many years, and I know you felt this pain as a Camden alum, where it's like, how could this team not live up to its ability? Or, I mean, they've had incredible players there, and they've had some great teams. I'm not disparaging any of those past additions, but he has gotten the most out of this team that is very good, and he has them clicking and playing together on all sides of the ball. And really, you got to think like, this is what we've been talking about for years. Is like,
but football's not track, right? Football's not.
it's
football's not. You got, go back to building a team is different. It's not always the best. It's the sum of the parts, not each part. Like he's had some guys, you don't know what's going on in the room. You don't know what's going on gel wise, chemistry wise. That's.
I'll say this, and I'm gonna get kind of detailed with this.
Yeah, please do.
If I got a second. With, some of the coaches previously, they weren't as disciplined as Coach Hinson is and has been in the past at Timber Creek. Very strict military guy. They didn't have that at Camden. So at times, just because you had 11, 12 guys going D1, there were some undisciplined elements about those teams. So when they're playing the Delcies and teams like that, they're not playing as disciplined as they should have been playing against those teams.
Yeah.
Right. So now with Coach Hinson, I will say this about Coach Hinson, being someone that has been around Coach Hinson's programs from Timber Creek and seeing this Camden team, he adjusted to the Camden team a little bit.
Yeah.
And the team is taking on his side of being disciplined.
Yeah.
Coach Hinson's always been a fun, loose guy. Very, he's a character. He's funny. You know what I'm saying? But at times,
until he's not.
Right. At times, he was kind of extremely strict.
Right.
I'll say. So some players would play tight. This team is the most loose and disciplined team. If you get what I'm saying, it's the best.
Look, he's letting them play. They have some freedom to play.
Right.
I get it. And that's some of that. Sorry, Bobby, comes with a little bit of age.
Right.
As you you get coaching a football team at age 28 and feeling you got to squeeze everything and to where as opposed to coaching a team at 48 where you're like, whoa, not that you're not disciplined. You're just like, you know what, you're picking the right battles.
Right.
And I still say, and you know what buttons to push, right? And it doesn't mean, it's it's too loosey goosey. It's like, all right, this team's, we had some goofy kids on our team, right? Like sometimes you're just like, all right, let him be goofy. Mac, what's he doing? I'm like, oh man, he's just goofy. Let him be goofy. And and then the kids who are lockstep, they'll walk lockstep.
Yep.
And then, and the kids that are lockstep knows that guys, it's like having a goofy brother. Like, all right, he's goofy, but you know what? He's going to do what we need to do when the time comes to do it. Doesn't mean he gets away with stuff. Doesn't mean he's outside the lines. It just means he's, or they're a little bit goofy.
But to meet your team, halfway is is, that's important, as you said. Maybe that comes with age. Maybe
I
that comes
don't know
with
if he's going halfway, but he's
No, but he's,
no, but he's
he's
meeting
giving
them
a little
somewhere
bit
in the
more.
middle.
he's beating
Yep.
them, no doubt. And
And
I
that's
think
key.
you have to now.
Right.
Like, I'm not
It's-
saying you gotta. Like,
It's a different world.
but
It
it's
is.
always been
You
a
know.
different world. My dad was a different coach in 1957 than he was in 1987.
Mhm.
Everybody will tell you, like the guys, the old birds used to see him coach in '87. Were like, Vince didn't let this happen. And '57, guys are looking at me like I'm nuts. But '87, my dad coached. He's coaching Scott McNair and Todd and the Loper guys. Different. Just doesn't mean they're undisciplined. It just the kids are different. Kids are it evolves. It's always gonna be.
Well, Coach says, well put. He says 54 with the crying face.
Hey, Bob,
you don't show it at
worry
all,
about it, Bobby.
Coach. You don't show it at all, my friend.
Hey, Bob, I'm 34.
Yeah. Best of luck on Wednesday, Coach. Camden
sure.
High and Shabazz. And
I want
as we see here in the chat, even, between Newark and Camden, there's bragging rights going on because there's,
I'm not going to say it, but this is going to be a game.
no
Yes.
doubt. I want to hear old time religion for an hour and a half straight.
You talking about Newark, Camden?
Yeah,
I mean,
no
this
doubt.
is one of those.
Next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. The
Yep.
3rd.
Yep.
Hour.
5 p.m. at Rutgers.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Let's talk about Group 3. Cedar Creek was the team where we said last week, I mean, if Cedar Creek could find a way, we might be able to put 5 in the state finals, and they did. And that's why we have 5. This game was an absolute classic. They beat Homedale 48-38. Jack Cannon, the excellent quarterback going to Dartmouth, had a big game, as always, for the Hornets. But at one point, Cedar Creek scored. They're down, I think, 30-16. I think they scored, how many unanswered? There's 27 unanswered.
Yep.
Freshman Bethea, 14-24, 264 yards, 4 touchdowns. 16 carries, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2 interceptions, one of them a one-handed highlight reel on a stage where, everybody was familiar with the guy at home in Jack Cannon, and rightfully so. Freshman Bethea, I mean, he kind of like stole the turkey. He's kind of like the dog jumped up and stole turkey when no one was watching on Thursday, right? He ends up putting his imprint on it. They win 48-38. Jameer Canfield, 2 touchdowns receiving. Gian King, also a touchdown receiving. Anybody, make sure you go back and watch last night's By the Numbers here on the D2 Sports Network. They talked to Frenchman and also, was it Jameer Dunbar?
Jameer Dunbar. Mm-hmm.
Look, great game. I know the spot at the end of the game of if Cannon got the first down or not was a lot of conversation, and certainly it was close. I couldn't tell, but Cedar Creek makes the state final. Mac, they're 11-2. They're going to face Old Tappan, who's 12-0. Old Tappan beat West Morris 35-0 in their state semifinal. They've led to lose a game since a 27-21 loss to Pascack Valley last regular season. That's 17 in a row. They're looking for their 3rd state title in 4 years. We saw them beat Delsey, and we saw them beat Mainland last year. They're back again. Zachary Maselli at quarterback, 11 of 15, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns. Carried 7 times for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns last week as well. Leo Etter, 5 receptions, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. Old Tappan's played 2 close games this year, both by 1-score finishes. Victories over Ramapo, who's in the Group 4 state final, and Northern Highlands, who lost to Ramapo in their sectional final. And, of course, we know where Ramapo is. Maselli on the year threw for 2,400 yards and 30 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. Team's balance, they have 1,900 rush yards, 2,500 pass yards. Etter has 846 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns. Devi Rodayan, 142 carries, 854, and 14 touchdowns. They allow just 9.8 points per game, and 3 of their last 4 have been shutouts. So, again, we talk about, I know Matt Best is in here. I know of Cedar Creek Pirate, and I know the Pirates under Jimmy Melody are feeling good. They got their swagger back. Certainly after that late season loss, I think it was the last game of the season to Ocean City in overtime. In the playoffs, they've been a different team. the speed that they have across the board, I think presented some challenges for Homedale. I think team speed's something they're hoping can work in their favor in this championship game, which is going to be Friday at MetLife at 4 p.m. Cedar Creek, Mac, Bethea, really, I think about there was a guy a few years ago in the playoffs in baseball. I'm going to put some baseball in you.
Okay.
Right? This is in your ballpark. The pun very much intended. Daniel Murphy for the Mets one year.
Yeah.
Right? The guy entered the playoffs. Nobody really cared who he was or knew that much about him, unless you were a Mets fan or a diehard baseball fan. And he went on to carry them to the World Series where they lost. But he was like Roy Hobbs. I mean, everything he saw of his strike zone was out of the park. Freshman Bethea is on that type of heater right now, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, we saw him against Mainland, right? And it was like everybody in the place thought we're going overtime, and bang, he drops a dime.
Yeah.
Puts it perfectly. Guys, that second season, the refocusing, the loss to Ocean City, throw that all in there. Campfield, Dunbar, Talent, King. They got multiple weapons, multiple dudes. And then Bethea can kind of just, what I love, look, when a quarterback can take it, tuck it, and just move the sticks, right? 3rd and 7, move them, gets 8, 9, step out of bounds, 10, 11, boom, break it. He's that type of guy. Now, Maselli up there, yeah, look, Old Tapan, we're gonna have South Jersey's gonna have their work cut out on this one, right? Cedar Creek, right? Because South Jersey, we're all in this show. We're Cedar Creek fans this week.
Absolutely.
And but something about the winners win, man. And when you got that belief and you think you can do some things and you've done some things, and now you're like, I'm not saying they're gonna get off the bus thinking, hey, this is ours. I mean, but that game last week, we're following the feed. We're like, oh man, is the Cinderella? Are we on a pumpkin now? But boom, they're like, no, we're not done. That's something.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what else. I mean, I know last week was a track meet. Given Homedale, the defense for Homedale wasn't up to snuff. I don't think. I mean, they give up a lot of points all year. And so going back and forth with Cedar Creek in a basketball game, eventually that worked to Cedar Creek's advantage, and being able to come back from being down 30 to 14. And
sure,
the next thing you know, I mean, you reel off all these points and it plays to their advantage in that sense. But a guy I think gets lost when we talk about Cedar Creek is linebacker Justice Payton. This kid has 126 tackles on the season. He's everywhere for them. We can look at it and say Bethea, Campfield, Dunbar, these guys, we know what they're capable of, right? Offense, you got one big challenge on offense. Don't turn the ball over, right? You hold on to the ball. We got guys that know how to get in space. We can get them the ball. We can score. Defensively, who's going to take that step up? And Peyton's a guy I will watch for. I mean, Bethea, obviously 2 big turnovers last week with the picks. Bethea's a guy I keep my eye on because he's everywhere for them defensively. It's, Old Tapan is, after seeing them twice, I mean, they've had 2 hats up at Rutgers. And I just think
on paper,
they are so well coached with Coach Dunn there. They are an absolute program, and there's a reason for them being there every year.
Well, look,
Cedar Creek, I agree, has their work cut out for them, but if they hang around or they get going on offense, Rod.
Well, that's
Frenchman's feeling it.
The cardiac kids, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. I mean,
never out of a game.
I mean, a little bit of house money. Everybody's picking Old Tapan. All of a sudden, you get a pick, you get a block, you get a kick, you get a knot, and now it's like we're not dying, we're not going away, and Creek's not going away. We know that. You're going to cut the head off.
Yeah, something that Amir said last night was they don't go into the games looking at it as like we're underdogs. We got to play a certain way. He said we're trying to take it to them. We're trying to just punch them in the mouth. We're going to see if they can take it. and whoever wins at the end, they win. But they're going up there to fight. So, Dunbar, Campfield, all of those guys, like their guys have to make plays.
Yeah.
They have to turn it into a shootout. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I would agree. And, a little bit of, again, because of the and they got guys there too. I mean,
Yeah.
Old Japan's got their set of guys.
Mhm.
We know that.
Yeah.
It's up front. As what can we do? What can we do up front? What can Creek do up front? And can they make it? Like you said, if you want to go shootout.
But you're dealing with a team that has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Right.
So, for the last 2-3 weeks, everybody's been picking against them, but they've been able to, flip the switch and win the game. So they're going in with the same mindset.
One thing that I think though is key, and I know, we saw Cedar Creek at the regional championship against then Woodrow Wilson years ago, right? But one thing you can't overlook is these are high school players, high school athletes. Old Tapan has played in a stadium at the end of the year in this championship 3 of the last 4 years. So there's technically a freshman that could have been on the first team.
Mm-hmm.
If they were on the team last year, they were there. And we've seen that benefit. We saw it benefit Delsey. They lost the first year to Old Tapan. We saw it. I think Mainland had benefited even though they lost that game. Both teams kind of came in on a decent footing. Glassboro, we've seen. I mean, Cedar Creek hasn't been in that position. That's not to say they can't handle it great, but it is something to consider that, Old Tapan, anybody on the team the first time playing in a Giant stadium was probably last year, right? So that is something to think about.
Yep.
Watch the first 5-10 minutes of the game and see.
It is different.
Yeah.
You can get caught with the mouth. You can get caught gaping.
Or try and do too much. Or whatever. You really got to be strong in the beginning.
You get caught a little
quarter.
bit you're pinching yourself a little bit in the first couple minutes or first quarter. Hopefully you can get it down and realize do the old, Gene Hackman on Hoosiers, right?
Measure out the goal line.
Right. It's still 51 yards by 120 yards by that 10 to get a first. It's still the same stuff. So, but yes, I agree. It could be that can be overwhelming sometimes.
We've gotten through Group 1, 2, and 3. We have Group 4 and 5 left to preview, and a little special news, I guess you'd call it, like a little bit of a cool thing we're going to try this weekend. So I hope that's enough to keep you around. Sit tight and stay tuned to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. We'll be right back after this. The West Jersey Football Coaches Association was established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated close to $100,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Capstone Medical Services, a dedicated team of experienced healthcare professionals with a strong presence at the youth, middle school, high school, collegiate, and post-collegiate levels. They specialize in athletic training services and sports medicine for youth, high school, collegiate, and adult sports, event EMT and paramedic coverage for events and gatherings of all types and sizes, ensuring everyone's safety, injury prevention and workplace injury programs for commercial and industrial organizations, American Red Cross training, ideal for coaches, youth group leaders, church organizations, businesses of all sizes, and school districts. At Capstone, they are committed to delivering exceptional medical services that exceed expectations. No team will work harder or more passionately for you or your athletes. They proudly serve athletes of all ages, schools, businesses, and event organizers, ensuring the health and safety of every individual in every setting. Whether on the field, at work, or during special events, Capstone's here to protect, support, and serve because your safety is our top priority. To learn how Capstone Medical Services can support your school, organization, or event, call 855-EVENT-CMS or visit capstonemedicalservices.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by SRA Home Products. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley alone. And I've had the opportunity to be around Mike Fody, the owner, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold-accredited member of the Better Business Bureau under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up a number of Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They also contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com.
Enthusiastic about football? Become a part of the NJFOA South Football Association and team up with us to officiate high school football. Join us on the field. Our cadet class kicks off in March. Register on our website or by scanning the QR code in this ad. Put the stripes on and join us on the gridiron today.
Welcome back, New Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. We haven't forgotten about the games we have on Turkey Day. Let me give you the slate for South Jersey if you're looking to go out and see a game that morning, or possibly there's one the night before. That one the night before is a game that'll be broadcast also on WIP. That's Audubon at Haddon Township. That's at 6 p.m. Wednesday. Thursday morning, got Paul to 6 at Camden Catholic, 10 a.m.
That's where I'll be, Trip.
You going to that?
Yeah, I'm going to that.
Holy Spirit at Atlantic City, 10 a.m. Pittman at Clayton. This is the 100th meeting between these two schools. That's Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Vineland at Millville. I think that's the longest running one, right? 10:30 a.m.
Yes, it is.
Haddonfield at Haddon Heights.
That's close.
11 a.m.
That's close.
East Side and Camden at Farnham Park, Camden High, 11 a.m. A lot of good Thanksgiving memories over the years. A lot of big games. Unfortunately, with the state finals going on Friday the way they are, I don't think I'm going to make a game Thursday or Wednesday, but to those who are, enjoy yourself and drive safely out there. I mean, there's a lot of nuts on the road this weekend.
Put the turkey in the oven. Put the turkey in.
Is this what you're going to do?
That's exactly what I'm going to
go
do.
to Camp Catholic?
I'm going to leave I'm going to be up around 6:30. Baste it, salt, pepper, keep it simple. Cut some onions and carrots and celery.
I was telling Rod I smoked turkey legs. I just took them off today.
Did you?
Yeah, got them ready for Thursday. First time doing that.
All right. Well, I like to keep it pretty traditional, but you got to baste that bird with a little butter, put it in the oven, and then I'm off to the game.
I know we do this every year, but we got to do it again. Real quick. Favorite Thanksgiving food, Rod?
It's not turkey. I know that.
Yeah, it's definitely not turkey. Not for me. Pass on the turkey. I'll probably go sweet potatoes. So
Rod.
I usually get a sweet. I'll tell y'all. My sister. So my grandmother used to do it. She used to make us our own pies. So my sister has kept that tradition going between me and my brother. So mine is sweet potato pie. She makes my own.
Yeah.
For me, the big one.
Nice.
So nobody
touches that.
Nobody touches that. We already know what we're doing. So sweet potato pie.
So you're gonna go stuffing.
No, actually, no, I'm not. I mean, look,
You go turkey?
No, but I just know that gravy makes the whole meal, and not because
Yeah, it's the best. Your gravy's great.
If you don't got the gravy, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can you can make up for a bad turkey with good gravy too. If it's too dry, you get enough gravy. Like, we've all
Okay, so Rod's getting a sweet potato pie, which is great. Favorite pie? You had one.
I usually get a little. I mean, plain apple, little vanilla ice cream.
Heat up a la mode.
A la mode. Yep, my Trey loves.
I
that.
go pecan pie.
Now, don't get me wrong. I will have a slice of pecan as well.
Yes, sir.
Next to because I actually do I'm more of I got the sweet tooth, but the older I get, the more I love the cranberry sauce on it. To get every bite with some cranberry, whether it be the stuffing, the turkey, the gravy. I try to I get cranberry on everything.
Listen, I'm from the South. I'm from Mississippi. You guys just,
That's right.
Pecan. I don't know how people say it, depending on where you are,
Depending on where you are.
But that's like a classic. My sister makes that for my brother, right? So I get the sweet potato. He gets the pecan pie.
My mom would do sweet potatoes with pecans on the top.
That's nice.
Brown sugar. So it's kind of like a mix of both.
Right.
Yeah,
but you got to try Sweet Eats apple pies. I don't know if you ever tried those.
But
pretty good.
No, I haven't. But when you get the pecan pie, the filling, that's not right.
Put in the microwave the next day.
Good.
So good. All right.
Yeah.
So good.
We're like, all right.
We didn't eat dinner. You can tell.
Is
we
it
don't
Thursday
eat dinner
yet?
before
What's
the show.
going on?
All right. So we're back. Let's talk Group 4 state final. We got Ramapo at 11-1 against Winslow at 11-2. This is Sunday at Rutgers at 3 p.m. First, we'll touch on Ramapo. Beat Phillipsburg 41-20 in the state semifinal, looking for their first state title. This is their second appearance. They lost to Mainland a few years ago. They're on a 9-game win streak since losing to Old Tapan 28-24 in week 3. Casey Grusser, quarterback, does a great job for them. 16-17, 182, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown against the State Liners. That was a revenge game for them also. That's who knocked them out last year. Liam Hayward, 19 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Joseph Yesus each caught a touchdown. Grusser is headed to Merrimack. He's thrown for 2,287 yards this year and 26 touchdowns with just 4 interceptions. He's also run for 600 yards and 10 scores. Only Old Tapan has held Ramapo under 28 points. So they're pretty high-flying offense. Winslow snuck, and I mean snuck in every sense of the word, past Brick Memorial last week, 14-12.
Crazy.
I was there. Jalen Parker in that game, 16-20, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He tied the state record for most career touchdown passes, 105. He's only a junior. Julian Peterson's interception sealed it. Benji Carter had 2.5 sacks. Rob Kostarfin had 3. I will say Carter's sack on 3rd and goal really was helpful for Winslow, moving the ball to hash. And I got to give a shout out here, Mac. You'll like this, right? Let's take offense and defense out of the equation. Let's talk about 2 guys who did a great job playing special teams at the punter position. Parker Reese of Washington Township against Kingsway.
Yes.
Handled a punt that went awry and got a punt off in that game.
Yep.
At a key moment. And Quade Hendricks, the receiver, defensive back, right? He had a huge punt at the end of that game that pinned Brick Memorial back and set up Julian Peterson's interception. So 2 guys who play positions, but great punters of their own right and came up with big plays. Winslow, look, they get out to a 14-0 lead, and everybody's thinking exactly what they thought coming in the game, that they would probably be able to run away and hide from Brick Memorial. You have to give a ton of credit and respect to Brick Memorial. The Ponies, they never stopped. They fought back. The coaching was great. They were on, they were right there. They missed the field goal from 27 yards to take the lead. There's an offside call. They move up 5 yards. They miss it from 22. Low field goal snap is what kind of damned them there. But they gave it everything they had. Couldn't be more happy to have seen the effort they put forward. I mean, this was truly a high school football classic, right? Winslow you could sense on the sideline, it felt like hadn't been a close game in a while, right?
Right.
Things start going awry, and now suddenly you're looking at not just losing a game, but this dominant season, this championship or bust. This is all, how is it, then a big sigh of relief after the fact. And as Coach Belton said after the game, I don't think it did any, he said, we needed this, but I don't think it did any good for anybody's nervous system.
No, of course, you when you need them, you usually like them at different times.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want it in the state semifinal where you're literally a field goal away from being done.
Had they lost that game, and they didn't, they would never forget. I mean, that would go down in the books, man. I mean, that's how big of an upset I would have considered it had they lost that game.
Look, Brick's a good football team.
Rod's got his. What are you thinking, Rod?
Was Winslow? Were they looking past Brick? Brick's a pretty good football team.
I don't know if it was. Well, if they would have lost, it would have probably been probably the biggest loss we've seen
in a while.
A long time.
No doubt.
A very long
100%.
time. That would have been a huge upset. But it's not that they were good or Winslow was looking past them. I think sometimes you go into a game and you're already they haven't been challenged other than IMG and Bergen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you're just looking, it's another public school, but you're not really looking past them. And then before you know it, you're in a dogfight.
Yeah.
Yes, and with last week, with Millville, it was close in the second quarter, but it's a team they'd handled earlier in the season. They had a lot of familiarity, but running away in that game and hiding. Now, myself, personally, I felt this way also, and some of the players may have felt it. Like they're waiting for, okay, well, we're going to run away from this team too.
Right.
And the next thing you know, you're not. And now you haven't worked into a lather on offense, and now there's somebody open on 3rd and long, and now things start, and the game shrinks, right? It comes right down to it. They were fortunate to win the game.
Well, look at Brick. You got opportunities after missed extra points, missed 2-point conversion, missed field goal,
Yeah,
like Woods and Coods, it's and buts. I mean,
exactly right.
So now you talk about a teaching moment, right? And this week in practice, I don't know if you can really bear down. It's not September. I mean, it's different. Yeah. It's mentally bearing down at this point in the season. It's not, the haze in the barn is you sit down in your joint. Right. You're just trying to figure out, you're filming it, you're on the field an hour and a half, hour and 45, just trying to do what you do at this point. And make sure you get familiarized with what they do for your guys on defense, et cetera. And but my saying that, look, everybody went home that night going, we've had them as coaches where you got out of a game and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that that was going to not be good at all. I was in a playoff situation up at DePaul Catholic, 2006. We were winning the whole game. We went up 2 scores, 3 scores. They came back. We decided to throw play action inside the 20, pick 6 the other way, gives them a 1-score game. They go down. They score at the end of the game. They decide to go for 2. We stop them, right? We stop.
You had me on the edge of my seat.
I
didn't know this story.
Oh, yeah. They got Chad Cervini playing quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, we stop them on their sideline. Our David Ardeer makes a tackle on their sideline because their people are everywhere up there. And I'm telling you, Martino and I are on the bus the whole way home. Like, everybody's talking. Kids are kids. They win the game, right? We're like, hands in our. I didn't say a word for an hour and a half drive home.
White as a sheet.
Why does it? I was just like, oh my gosh, because we got a little cute. We got cute, Rod. Right? We got. Let's go. Right.
I will say this,
and I'm like,
this is the only thing I'm going to say on the matter.
I'm still sick about it, and we won the game.
It was eerily similar to the game that played out on Sunday. Almost very similar script to the game that we saw on Sunday, also by the Eagles. The difference is, one team has the greatest kicker in, the world. But it was very similar, right? I mean, at 14-0. Okay.
Look, this is why football is great, because
anything can happen.
Anything can happen when obviously when the more people and bodies you put on the field, the greater a game. There's more of a chance of an upset, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's more. Now you could tell me soccer's got 11v11, but that's it.
Mhm.
Football, I'll tell you, there's 11 on offense. There's 11 on defense. Yes, they might be the same kid. You got 11 on special teams. Yeah, they might be the same kid. But there's a lot of moving parts, and there's more opportunities for, and you could feel the Eagles, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right? To your point, Winslow, they're slipping, right? They're slipping, and they're just slipping. But you know what? Winners win. And they held on, and they take a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
They're in a state final.
Big thing I'm looking for in this game. I feel like Winslow's offense will step back up to the plate and play a much better game. What I'm looking for is what is Ramapo's approach throwing the ball? They do it successfully. They do it very well. But with the front line of Benji Carter, Kastarfin, and Matthews, there is not a lot of time to throw the ball. So are they getting it out quick? Are they misdirecting? And can those those Winslow's defensive backs, they'll be ready, I know. But that's what I'm interested to see, because you're not going to find a better defensive line in public school football, not by far, right? Those three guys Carter absolutely controls the game, in my opinion. He is a dominant force, dude. And a heck of a nice kid. Very, very kind kid. He's like us talking about Washington Township. Like, he walks off the field, and you talk to him, you're like, I'm glad we're on this side of the I'm glad we're on this side of the line.
The question, to answer your question, Ramapo, Grusser last week goes 16 for 17, right?
Yeah.
So, without seeing the game,
for 186.
So he's hitting dink, doink, doink, boom.
Right.
So he probably does get rid of it.
Little play actions.
Yeah, look, he does get rid of it
Flat.
fairly quick. He's throwing sticks, he's throwing slants, he's throwing hitch. That can give you, that's death by 1,000 cuts, right? Unless we've been on that side of the ball too. They're going to be in that quarterback's face.
You have Peterson, Ali. You have guys that are, Division I signees and prospects. Should be able to cover.
I agree.
Like, that shouldn't be.
Yeah, but look, in these type of games, you just got to keep
It's the discipline of locking in on your keys and all of that.
Right. Trying not to, let the play come to you, figure it out. Don't try to make undercut plays. It's 3rd and 10. Give them the 5, tackle, make them punt. Let's go.
And I have to acknowledge how awesome the end zone was for Winslow. They painted the thing up. They do a great job down there. But I'll say this. I don't think a team has a playing surface does more of a disservice to its team's speed.
Yeah.
Like, if Winslow's playing on turf in the championship.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're watching that game on Saturday, you're like, this is exactly what Brick Memorial wants, because it's interesting how that plays out.
We grow the grass. We're like, grow the grass.
I noticed the same thing. I'm like, the grass looks a little high. It looked a little wet.
It was wet. Yeah,
and I'm like, man, Brick probably walked on the field like, yes.
Look, I've seen Shawnee play on that field multiple times, and I'm like, Shawnee's got to be like, yeah, this is good.
It's going to help us.
Yeah, because you don't see their cleats. You're like, and to your point, when they're going to be fast on turf.
Oh yeah,
because they're fast on grass.
So that's the Group 4 final. Ramapo and Winslow Sunday at 3 p.m. Final public game, Group 5, Passaic Tech, or PCTI, as many call it in the shorthand, is 10-3. They're going to face Washington Township, 13-0, Friday at 1 p.m. at MetLife. PCTI led by Coach Matt Demarest. They beat Bridgewater Raritan 23-14 in their semifinal. Kadir Young, 15 carries, 149 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Gabe Miles went 7 of 10, 172 yards, and Ian McDuffie caught 3 passes for 80 yards. PCTI's third state final appearance, they lost to Toms River North in 2022 by a score of 28-7, and then they lost to Toms River North again in 2023, 23-13. They're on a 7-game win streak since they lost to Ramapo, we just talked about, 41-7 back in week 5. Over that span since that game, the Bulldogs averaged 40.4 points per game, and they allowed just 13. Quarterback Gabe Miles didn't play in the beginning of the season. He came back 2 games before that win streak. He's thrown for 1,346 yards on a completion clip of 68%, 15 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he's run for 8 scores. And on the year, Kadir Young is rushed for 1,490 yards, 17 scores on 156 touches. That's good for 9.55 per carry. Nobody's ever won the state championship in Group 5 but Toms River North. That changes on Friday. The team that knocked them out last year, knocked Washington Township out last year in the state semis was Toms River North. And obviously, Toms River North had their way with PCTI twice. For Washington Township, we talked about them and their game in the beginning of the program. We've talked about them a lot all year. You want to talk about receivers, you got Paris Pratt, you got Jair Moore, Darian Joyner, all very, very good players. Cole Aquino, the temperature setter at quarterback, Mr. Leader, senior captain. Running back, Beeler, great back, comes in. You got Osborne and Robinson are going to spell him, and they're the big play hitters. You got Stephen Davidson up front, does a great job. Defensive line, Gabe Palaganis, Tyler Alisea, they're there in the backfield. Robinson, Osborne, Parker Reese, defensive back, Pratt Moore, defensive back. Guys everywhere, right? Dudes everywhere. This is exactly what Mac referred to in the beginning of the program as a team that has come along. This goes back to Washington Township taking 2 youth programs, uniting under one, the big deal in that community. It has gone a long way for the program. Coach Schatzman went to Washington Township, a big deal for him. He's built this thing up in the 7 or 8 years he's been there, and it means everything to him. There's no cannon at MetLife, but there was plenty of cannon smoke all season. Washington Township scoring at, I think, 38 a game or something like that. I'd say even, watching the game the other night, Mac, you look at the offense, you say, it's maybe not the best we've seen from them, but they still put up 35 points, and yeah, pretty darn good. That's what you can kind of expect out of them. Frank Holmes done a great job calling the offense. Hearn's done a great job on the defensive side of things. It's a big moment for Washington Township, right? This is everyone down there says the other night out of the side of their mouth to you, these guys have been doing this since they were 5 years old.
Yeah, it's
right.
literally,
Everybody knows
literally.
This team at some point remembered together. It becomes not only we can win the 10U championship, we can win the 12U. Now it becomes this team can win the state championship, and here they have a shot, Mac. It's going to be 1 p.m. on Friday.
They do. Mentally, they're going to be ready for it. The old, this is their time, their place, this type of thing. But they got to keep doing the things that got them there.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, head down the whole game. We'll tell you who won at the end, right? Because, playing last week, the interesting thing was watching Kingsway, Orvitz probably had the best game of his,
I would say so, yeah.
21 for 24?
25.
25, right? And a lot of intermediate route passing, and the cue from to say he's, he can do some of those things. So it's what's game plan wise, what are they trying to do? Like you said, nobody's won it, the Group 5 except Toms River North, and Passaic's lost to them twice, and they've lost to a Toms River North team that had arguably one of the, if not the best player in the nation, right, playing for them.
Mm-hmm.
who's now playing for the Cardinal.
Yeah.
Out west. So it's going to be an interesting game. We know this Washington Township team is all these dudes you mentioned, which they are, and led by on offense Cole Keno and what he does and how long they've been doing it and all their lives and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Well, there's a similar story up the road, right?
Yeah.
There's always a similar story,
especially at this point.
Yes.
But they've got to, Washington Township, I think they're going to have some opportunity to make some plays in the pass game. And one thing I do respect about the way they run their offense is as good as they are on the outside and as good as Aquino is, they stick with the run. I mean, they know how important balance is because that play action is key for them.
Oh, yeah.
On those downfield shots. The RPO game's key for them. I think Township has a very, very good shot to bring this home. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be what you want out of a Group 5 state championship, I think, and that's what we're looking forward to. So we will be there. I will be there, and I guess I'll go over the slate real quick. I know it's been scrolling on the bottom here, state final schedule, but if anybody's listening to this after the fact, one more time. Friday, 10 a.m., non-public B final. Friday, 1 p.m., Group 5 final. Friday, 4 p.m., Group 3 final. Friday, 7 p.m., non-pub A final. All of those are at MetLife Stadium. On Sunday, the Group 1 final is at noon. The Group 4 final is at 3. Those games are at Rutgers. And on Wednesday, the final game of the New Jersey Scholastic season, the Group 2 championship, Shabazz and Camden, is at 5 p.m. at Rutgers. That's Wednesday. Here's the other thing, Mac. For the first time this year, well, I'm just going to give a brief history, and then I'll let you know what we're doing this year. Last year, for the first time, I forgot my hat, and it was before the Group 4 state championship game. So I had to go to a local department store near Rutgers and buy one.
Haberdashery.
Yeah, haberdashery. I gave that hat to Cam Miller, who is now at Kentucky, the Winslow Star. He got my hats off of the game. And I said, you know what? You won a state championship, and I bought this a couple minutes ago. You keep it. So this year, Mac, I said, you know what? Good call. So we have 5 of these hats, and whoever wears the hat in the 5 games, the public finals, is going to get to take it home.
Keep the hat.
Keepsake, yeah.
You're literally going to
It's a little bit different hat, but
you're literally going to get the hat.
Give it away. If you win the hat in a state championship, I say take it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Take it. Have it forever. So we will give it out on Friday, Sunday, and Wednesday.
That's one of them?
It's 1 of 5. 1 of 5.
Well done.
I don't know that I'll be there for the whole non-pub, those other games, so not going to happen. Sorry.
There's not a South Jersey in a non-pub, is there?
There's not.
Okay. So
well, we got somebody we cheering for in one of those games. We're cheering for.
Yes.
Lamar
We hope
Best.
Mr. Best does a great job. St.
Yes.
Joe Montvale, former Willingboro quarterback, got it. Definitely saying this. We're rooting for the Green Knights.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. We got a little South Jersey flavor
Yep.
with St. Joe Montvale.
Yeah. Good luck, Lamar. Good luck.
No doubt.
Good luck, Green Knights.
But we also want good luck to the 5 South Jersey reps. All day Friday, all day Sunday to finish up with the high on next Wednesday.
Yes.
Not sure when we'll go next week. You guys stay posted. We'll let you know because we have state championship obviously Wednesday night. So not sure when the next time we'll be back, but we will be back to wrap up the season. No questions asked. 5 public state championship games. Sometimes I still have to pinch myself and know that we have state championship games in public football after a long time of not having them. It's exciting. And now to think we have 5 South Jersey teams, 1 in each game, is incredibly exciting. So best of luck, of course, to Glassboro in Group 1, Camden High in Group 2, Cedar Creek in Group 3, in Group 4, Winslow Township, and Mac, Group 5, Washington Township, the Minutemen.
The Minutemen. There'll be some cannon. There'll be some cannon. They might not have the cannon there, but there'll be some cannon.
What do you got, Ron?
If we win all 5,
Yeah.
what does that mean for South Jersey? What's the impact?
I was just thinking as he's saying it, I'm going, forget how the CFP does their deal,
Mhm.
right? We should have some sway at the next year, going into the playoffs and say, hey, look, let's go. My vote, let's go back to snaking, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you got 5 South Jersey teams out of 4 different sections, but 5, right?
Well, I think what it does, Rod,
Who
to
do the
answer
other
your
fi-
question, to answer your question as civilly and as honestly as I can, I'll say this: the reason we had asked for a state championship for so long is that outside of this area, because the non-pub powers are what they are up north, and that is the top of the top. I'm not, you're never going to hear anything different from me, right? But the public is just an afterthought, right? At that time, we say we get together and play public state championships, they would see how good public football is in South Jersey. So to answer your question, I think if they get 5 out of 5, or I mean even 4 out of 5, really, in my opinion, and there's been a lot of gained respect since we went to state finals. But I'll say this: they would definitely send a message of. There would definitely be a lot of respect for South Jersey and the quality of public football here throughout, because it's not just Group
Listen,
1. It's
my
not just Tom's River North. It's not. Now you're saying, okay, 5 for 5. The whole phrase. I know it's changed now, but for 15 years was like SEC, right?
Mhm.
So you would say, like, I still think that way. Maybe say American League East.
right.
The American League East of public football. You'd say, well, it's the West Jersey Football League.
But look, it's South too. This isn't like, I mean, it's Glassboro, Camden. We're talking traditional Cedar Creek, Winslow, right? Obviously, Washington Township. My dad would be happy as heck because, that New York Star Ledger every year when they would rank. I mean, I sound old, don't I? But when they would rank that New York Star Ledger, and you'd have only like 2 teams in South Jersey in the top 10, and you'd be like, what? Come on now. I mean, look, peel out Bosco and Bergen and that deal. Right. Read.
Yeah.
Hey, a newspaper, guys, is something that came to the house and you'd open it up and you'd actually read it. So, well, listen, whether it's digital or not, the New York Star Ledger would. The fact of the matter was, there was only so many South Jersey teams that were named in those top 10, top 20 polls. Fact, I mean, and the Newark, I'm pretty good with geography, but Newark's not in South Jersey.
Right.
So, they know who's buying the paper. So listen, it's been settled now on the field.
Yeah, and I think I think it just would give us a lot of, make us feel great about it, right? Of course, but on a large standpoint, say, yeah, okay, 5 for 5 is pretty good.
Yeah.
And it would set a standard for South Jersey. We've done this before. This is what we should be doing. So we'll see. It's going to be great. It's going to be great state finals. And to me, I know in the past and through this whole playoff argument of the northern numbers and whatever, there's been a lot of people who've said, high school football is at its best when it's regional. Nobody cares about state. I'll say this, man. Watching Old Tappan, getting to watch some of these other teams, meeting their kids, seeing their band, listening to whatever, the fans chant. It's a new thing I learned. Seeing kids from across the state playing for that title. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a great series of games, man. Like,
well, you've kept the integrity of the sectional champ. You do have the South and the Central-ish.
T. Bettle Jackson says the last time a South Jersey team finished number 1 in Star Ledger was '86 Pennsauken.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I didn't know it exactly, but that's what I was kind of clicking at.
If only we had more stuff about Pennsauken on the show over the years. That's something we got to work in.
Hey, Rod, as the old man used to say, it ain't bragging if you've done it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Thank you all for watching. Have a great Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. If you're going out to a game or not, just be sure to be safe out there on the roads. Enjoy time with your family, your friends, and think of those that are less fortunate as well. I know many of you help out and donate and things like that. It's all great. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show will be back at some point to recap the state championships. And good luck to the 14 teams who are left participating on this big stage. The whole state is watching for you guys, and good luck. Stay healthy. Play hard.
Go to some football games.
Go to some football games. Amen.
Thanksgiving, Friday,
Thanksgiving's
Sunday.
all about football.
Hey, get on the road. Go watch Camden High next Wednesday.
We'll see you guys when we see you next. Look for the announcement for Rod, Coach Mac, D2 Sports Network, Studio B. If you need a booking, be sure to contact Rod. I'm Mark Trible in the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show.
Happy Thanksgiving.